Okay, you're joining the second part of the interview that Dave J. has with Jim Fetzer. Jim Fetzer, on your right, was a university professor who's retired, and he has spoken out on some very important things, such as a segment in the history of Israel that never really happened, and also some hoaxes like Sandy Hoax, and other things. Now, Dave is going to try to explain to him that the hoax lie system is massive, and it's permeated what he knows and understands as history. But you can even see in the nonverbal that Jim folds his arms, which is kind of a nonverbal defensive posture, that already he's not going to welcome what Dave is saying. Now, what I want to say is that Dave isn't really looking so much for Jim to agree with him, but he's looking to bring Jim around and tell him, you've been lied to about everything. And basically that's what Dave is trying to do. And of course, Jim's not going to go with it, but let's join the interview.
Technologies as they are presented to you throughout history don't exist. They don't exist in the way that you've been shown. All right? So a nuclear bomb is not going to, it does not do what you think it does, because it does not exist in the way you think it does. You need to get rid of that. That will not happen to you ever.
You're baffling me, Dave, I got to admit. Okay, I've seen so many nuclear explosions.
No, you haven't seen anything.
So many mushroom clouds.
You have seen nothing.
I encourage everyone to watch the film, Stanley Kubrick's most brilliant, Dr. Strangelove, at least once every year to remind us.
But you have not seen anything. You have seen videos. And if you actually take the time, please listen to me here. You must take yourself, your concern away, and you must look at this stuff logically. Take a look at all of the evidence that they have presented to you. And you are claiming that that's the evidence you're presenting to me as it being real. I'm saying I'm going to use that same evidence and show you that it's not real, because it's all contrived. You can see it's all just movie mockery. And in fact, there's been several times, and I'll show you this, James. There were several times in the news where CNN and other news outlets would put up video of military activity in Iraq, for example. And this one time they put out a videotape, CNN specifically. And I could see that there was a backdrop, much like an old cowboy movie, where the end of the street's actually just a painted backdrop. It's a false scene. And I said, you can see it. It was so badly done. And so I called in and I said, did you guys see that was just a backdrop? It wasn't an actual real street. And you guys were claiming there was a military activity happening. And then they said, oh, we didn't see that. I called the Pentagon, and I actually got through to the duty desk. And I actually emailed to the duty desk that video, and I talked to the commander, and he watched it with me. And he said, yeah, that doesn't look real to me. So they are presenting you with so much fake forgery and phony footage.
Okay, I can't resist the temptation here to jump in like the one video, "This Scud is for you," where they have a fake like air raid and missiles are being shot and everything, and it's just all hokey pokey nonsense. Okay, as far as nuclear goes, it's just nonsense. Okay, there is no splitting of the atom. It's nonsense. The E equals MC squared is just numerology, magic numbers and letters. Einstein was played by Larry Fine. Now you heard me right. The Three Stooges. Larry Fine played Einstein. I have a video on that in War Backwards is Raw. The match is incredible, and all the details are there. Einstein liked violin. Einstein had a crazy hairdo. Einstein said some brilliant things, supposedly, and then he act wacky. And that's the same thing as Larry. It's all there, folks. He was just a character. There is no such thing as splitting an atom. There is no such thing as combining atoms and hydrogen explosions and maybe nuking the Earth 10 times over. It's nonsense. But it was sold to you and to me, and generation after generation. And a lot of the filming that was done was up in Lookout Mountain, up there near Hollywood, up where the Hollywood sign is. They had more equipment up there to do hoax filming than they had down in Hollywood. Well, anyhow, let's get back to the interview.
And you are believing it because you have already allowed yourself to believe in your mind that that's possible.
Well, Dave, there are two different issues here.
Right.
But what's presented on television and then there's what's really going on in the world, which may or may not comport. But I take it, while you're asserting that some of what was being shown in relation to the Iraq invasion was fabricated with a green screen and so forth. You're not denying that we invaded Iraq and we destroyed a lot of the country.
Yeah, controlled demolition is what. War is this. Let me explain war to you. War is controlled demolition and strategic relocation. Okay? So then this is very simple. Yes, there is destruction in war, but it's all controlled. There is troop movement in war, but it is all controlled. All right? There is strategic relocation in war, but it is all controlled. So if I have, if I'm controlling the so-called enemy, because the enemy is the other guy if you're on the other side, if I'm controlling that enemy, both side commanders are in contact. Okay, move to position C. As soon as you're in position C, I'll move to position B.
Well, Dave,
no, let me keep going just to get the full thought finished. So then it's just a controlled ballet. Okay? So if anybody, this is very important for me to tell this to you. There is one thing that you do not want to do in this existence, and this is the only thing. The rest is all forgivable. Do not, under any circumstance, false witness death. Don't do it. I'm only going to tell you that once. Okay. However, so let me just finish this on the war aspect. Nobody, and if they told you this, they are lying to you. Nobody has aimed a rifle at an enemy on a battlefield and shot at them to kill them. Nobody. Period.
Now I'd like to interject a testimonial. I have probably about 15 videos on War Backwards is Raw, where I call them raw encounters. People that I have met over the years of my life who were, quote, in a war situation. The nation was at war. Not one of them could tell me they took a gun and shot and killed someone. Not one. In fact, not one of them has any reports of any actual dead bodies or anything along those lines. Not one. Now, what Dave is saying is true. I want to affirm it. So if you're interested, find those. War Backwards is Raw is the channel, and I call them Raw Encounters. People that I have met over the years.
Hasn't happened. If they claim that, they are lying to you. They are, in fact, liars and spiritual murderers.
Dave, look. I'm a former Marine Corps officer.
And don't tell me that you were in war because you would be lying to me.
Look, Dave,
don't do it.
Let me finish my thought. I've studied military history. We've had many great battles. The idea that they were all coordinated or controlled is frankly nonsense.
It's not nonsense.
We have better and less good generals. We have some.
No, let me give a word of sort of defense of Jim. I was Jim at one time. And the only reason I'm making videos now is I overcame the war hoaxing. And my first channel is called War Backwards is Raw. And that's why I called it that. Because if you spell the word war backwards, it produces Ra, R-A, which is the false god of Egypt. Now, you study something in a book, and because it's in a book, you think it's factual. Incorrect. It's just passed down lies, and Dave is right. They're generational lies, okay? And when you do the homework, like Dave says, and you put on a detective hat, you be Sherlock Holmes. Get your magnifying glass and go ahead. Start looking at war footage. Go ahead. Go ahead. And whatever Dave said is absolutely true. They shoot off into empty fields, and if they show you something they say is a dead body, it's just a dummy. Now, Jim really's having a difficult time, and I think he's getting close to canning Dave. So I'm going to stop it right here and try to do a part 3. I really want to thank you for watching, and I really want to thank Dave for going on this man's show. And indeed, we should thank Jim because he was good enough to try and let Dave speak on his show. And he does have part of the truth, but he just won't let go and go all the way. Stay tuned for part 3.